Hi everyone, Plastic EP here from Melbourne, Australia. Got a fantastic guest, Bob Koenig. And guess what? He's a collector. He's a member of the group, The Keys. And you know what? Bob, we think you're groovy.
Hey bananas, we think you're groovy. Hey bananas, we want your movie. Yeah. Driving tune buggies everywhere, just going crazy without a care.
Okay, wasn't that fab? What have
That's
you got
great.
there,
That's
Bob?
great. Why not have your own song? Why not? That's good.
What have you got there? You got a CD signed by all three Monkees. Who signed it?
Nice to meet you. Well, I've met all the Monkees, but at different times, different intervals. So after this came out, I had Davey sign it once at one meeting, Peter Tork at another, and Mickey Dolenz at another. I have
That's
stuff.
fantastic.
I have things signed by Mike too, but I didn't bring this along with me when I met him, so I missed out on that.
Yeah, you haven't got Mike, but I got him here and he signed this. He came to the Australian concert. Of course, I got a backdrop like Batman, so you can't see him. You can't see him, but you can barely
There it
see
is.
him.
I see it.
Look at that. He's coming up out of the building.
Yeah, I'll show some other things.
He signed that. Okay, you know his
Yeah.
Video Ranch is the greatest. You can get all your stuff from Video Ranch. So let me tell you, I got his box set now of CDs, which is fantastic. Plus, I also got his Infinite Tuesday, and he sent me the new one and
Great.
another cover sheet. He signed that as well. So not only did he sign the book, he sent me a cover sheet. So everybody, go out to Video Ranch and check out all the cool Mike Nesmith stuff because it's all there. And half the time, he's got offers going.
Wonderful.
Right, let's get on to
Well,
the Monkey stuff.
Yeah, I found a lot of stuff mostly in the 70s. I do remember seeing the Monkees in the 60s, but then my parents would switch the station to Gilligan's Island, so I didn't see it much back then. But in 1970, it was on Saturday morning at 12 o'clock. So my big memory is sitting and having lunch and watching the Monkees.
That's great.
And in the 70s, it was great to find their things because, in the 70s, it was hard to be a Monkees fan because a lot of people hated the Monkees at that point.
Yeah,
They were
turned off from the Monkees, yeah.
so if you tried to buy something at a store, you got made fun of, and so you endured a lot of things like that. But just to show you, I met Peter initially in 1980, and here's the back of the Pisces album.
That's
He signed
fantastic.
that.
Isn't that great?
And this was more recent of Mike to sign the Headquarters album.
That's great too. I've got Davey on the Headquarters album signed.
Oh, yeah, that's precious just because they're gone.
Yeah, but you know who else I got, Bob? I got Lynn Randell, the Australian singer that was on the first Monkees tour, to sign the back, and she's passed away too. So no one's got that.
Oh, wow. But Mike and Mickey will now sign different things and mail it out. So here's Good Time with Mickey's autograph. And Mike had signed various things for me. Here's an original Prison.
Yeah, just move it across. That's fantastic, Bob. Yeah, move it across a bit more so we can see the cover. That's great. Yep, I see it. That's it. Shows the prison. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You got some cool collectibles, Bob.
Thank you. And some of the great things with finding Monkee stuff, well, like I said, in the 70s, the biggest thing was the local stations were rerunning the show. So we got to see the episodes that way, and it sort of reminded you how much you liked them. Then, of course, came this album that was available through American TV, It's
Yeah, that's
from
rare. I've never seen that in the flesh.
It's from Laurie House, the
Yeah,
monk. It's just it's a 2-record set. It doesn't have an attractive, great cover,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
it was an interesting compilation.
of course, you
Now, for
can't find that
you,
now.
because you're in Australia, you must have picked up this one.
Yeah, Monkey Mania double album set. I got it, and actually in Japan, that's a collector's item. Very hard to sell, to find. If you want to make money, sell it in Japan. I'm telling you, I've been tipped
Really?
off. Yep, can't
Wow.
find it.
So that was a big deal at that time to get people interested in the Monkees again.
It's
But
great.
different things that I have in my collection, record wise. Of course, a lot of people would desire something like this. This is the mono Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees.
Yep. And why is
And
the mono version so rare? Can you tell me so I can go and get a copy?
well, at that time in 1968, um, albums that were coming out in both mono and stereo were starting to go out in fashion. It was mostly stores were carrying just the mono copy, stereo copy at that point.
Yeah, I'm a
So
stereo man.
when Birds the Bees came out, not that many stores carried the mono
Mono.
anymore.
Okay.
Some different bands' albums at the time were only coming out on stereo. So anything that came out in mono in 68 was considered pretty rare. Like, well, it didn't happen here, but in England, when the White Album, the Beatles' White Album came out, that was in mono and stereo. And so the mono became desirable because that was harder to find later. It was out of print. And then, of course, there's different mixes. There's different mixes on here, too. So that's why it's desirable. But now I believe it's in the box set that came out from Rhino, the mono version. So I guess
Okay.
it doesn't make this as worthwhile, but
No, the
it's
original
still
one's always the
interesting to
best.
have.
The original one is always the best. I got to ask you, have you got a good record player, Bob?
Yeah, yeah, I have a decent turntable.
Right, because you got to have a good player. It's no point having records if you haven't got a good player. That's what I tell my son. He's 23. He goes, I want to get a record player. I said, you're not going to buy a $40 record player and wreck your records because that's not how it plays. I'd rather have an MP3 unless you've got a system that's worth like $1,000 and you get really great sound. Without the sound, what can I
Sure.
say? It doesn't help the records if you play it on a $50 system.
Well, that's one of the problems today with the records that are coming out. They charge like $22, $25 a record,
Yeah, it's about
and
$50
they sell
Australian
these
here.
little portable turntables that really can't play some of the high end of these discs. So
Exactly.
you really need to go into the higher end, like through a more audio fidelity kind of
Exactly. Now we're
turntables
talking.
and things in order to play those. Yeah.
That's what I told him. I said, if you don't spend $1,000 and buy a decent system, forget it. Because now I only play MP3s and CDs. I don't play records. Most of my records, the covers, I collect them. They're on the wall. I frame them
Wow.
on the wall. That's all. They're just for looking. So I go into a record store and buy the records, and the guy said, "You playing these?" I go, "No, I'm framing them."
I never got rid of my records though. I kept them all, but I have, like 1,000 or more CDs already. Way, accumulated way too many. But now you get a car around here. The cars don't even have the CD player anymore. It's a shame.
Exactly. You might have to go to 8-track. You might have to put in an 8-track, Bob.
Yeah, I had some 8 tracks for a while. I don't have too many anymore, but I do have a player that works.
That's great. Can I
Then
ask
you
what
have
else we
rare
got? Let's
records.
keep them moving. This is great.
Have you
That
ever
one
seen
I haven't
this?
seen. I haven't seen that.
This is also, I think, 1969 or 1970. This is the Monkees' Golden Hits. This was available through Serial. When you bought Serial, you could send for this record.
Seriously.
It has it's just an odd collection,
That's great. I love
and
the back cover.
it's all the songs. it's all the songs that were from the cereal boxes. You know, there was records that you could cut out that were on the back
Yeah,
of the
yeah, I got
cereal
him.
boxes.
I got him. Yeah,
This was like a compilation of all of them.
that's
But it's
fantastic.
actually a Cold Gems album, so that's unusual.
That's quality.
The last Monkees Cold Gems record was this, the Barrel Full of Monkees. It
Yeah,
was
that's great.
a two record set, and
That's rare. Can you
just
show
an
me inside? Can you show me
just
inside,
another
Bob?
odd collection.
Bob, can you show me inside the gatefold? I've never
Sure.
seen it. Do you know Mike? Do you know Mickey was the last one to leave?
Mickey was the last one to leave. Huh?
Yeah, and you know what I said?
Called him the Monkey.
Mickey should, yeah, exactly. Mickey should have put in an album called The Monkey. He'd still be getting residuals. I said that.
That would have been incredible.
That would have been incredible. Who would have known?
You
Mickey
see,
the
it's got
Monkey.
an early picture of them on the inside.
That's great. I love it. That's fantastic.
What's
We'll move on
interesting is a friend of mine in the early 70s, this was the Monkees album that he had. That was the only one that I had seen at that point that we played. So even this, because it has Listen to the Band and a couple of things, it was like, oh, we never heard those songs on the TV show. You see, the thing with my generation, and I guess with yours, we had a lot of
too.
we had a lot of cartoons that played music a lot. So you got that off of TV. This is way before videos and MTV and all. This was the way kids picked up on music.
Exactly. But I got to say, it's good that you're a big Monkees fan. That's fantastic.
Even have you may or may not have ever seen this. This was this is a bootleg box set called the Monkees.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a big thick box, and it's just a paper insert on the back and front, and it shows the different album covers.
That's great. You've shown us some rare stuff. I haven't seen this.
And there's 3 records in here, but unfortunately, the sound quality on this was very poor. But at the time, we didn't have this stuff any other way, so it was great to get this set. This came out, was it very early 80s, late 70s, early 80s? I guess early 80s this came out. So it was before the whole MTV, the whole resurgence.
Great.
Oh yeah, here was another one with Mike's autograph. This was
That's a
the
beauty.
music from Infinite Tuesday.
Exactly. And I got the book with the newer cover. Oh, that's great how he signed that to you, Bob. As I said, you find everything at Video Ranch, everyone.
Yeah, well, this wouldn't be there. This is one of Nesmith's releases for Red Roads.
Yeah.
This was an album that was a Red Roads solo album. Hey, if Mike ever gets to see this, he can see that somebody had this album.
No, hold it there. I want him to see it because he may not even have that album.
Well,
what year did that come out?
It's on Countryside Records. This was 73.
Okay, show me the back as well so Mike can see it. Let's show Mike.
What was
That's
funny
great to know.
What was funny with his label with this, if you take the record out, was it this one? Maybe not.
Who made it?
It just has the Countryside label on it.
Who's the company that put it out, Bob?
I think this was through Elektra, I believe.
Okay. And what's the name of the album again so I can send this to somebody?
It's by Red Roads, and it's Velvet Hammer in a Cowboy Band.
Okay, Velvet Hammer in a Cowboy Band. That's a great title.
So we spoke before about music and cartoons and how this brought different things out. Yep. As a kid, when the Beatles' Yellow Submarine movie came out,
yep,
I saw it. My My father, my grandfather, they wouldn't go near the theater to see that. That was a crazy movie. But my mom, I ended up dragging her to go see it, and I love that movie so much. I mean, that you ever have, you must have it too. Something that happened in
I
your
know all
life that
about it.
was a fulcrum that changed something with you. Well, that movie got me more into music. Here's here's the Yellow Submarine lunchbox.
Oh, that's fantastic. Let's have a look at the front and the sides. That is
I
unbelievable. No one's got that.
I had this in first grade,
Unbelievable.
and my bus driver for school, every day would ask me, at the end of the year, you're giving me that, right? And I was like, no, no, it's mine.
I'm glad you didn't give it to him. That's unbelievable.
So it's really colorful,
That's
and
beautiful.
here's my original Yellow Submarine album. You would say it's not too special. It's just a regular copy, except my mother back then, you probably can't see it too well. My mother back then put my name and address on the record. Well, my address back then, because I was taking it to school in first grade.
Of
We
course.
used to play this in like my classroom, and my teacher and I made this big, huge cardboard cutout of the Yellow Submarine. And me and three other boys in the class, during a school concert, we got up and we sang Yellow Submarine. And what? I have no pictures of the large Yellow Submarine that was made. And I had it at my house for years, but it's long gone and I have no pictures of it.
That's
Only
fantastic, though.
My
Honestly,
only
that's
proof
been
is
a
that I
child
know I took
career.
this to school.
Great.
But I also took to school, talking about that kind of music. I also took the Archies to school.
Of course you did. And Ron Dainty's going to have a new CD come out, all box set about the unreleased Archie songs. That's coming
Oh,
out.
wonderful.
I
Yeah,
interviewed Ron.
finally.
He's such a fantastic person.
He is. He is. And he did so much music that you didn't know his name. He just was
He was in the Detergents. He was in different bands. Had Tracy. The guy's a living legend. He produced
right. Tracy
Barry
by the
Manilow.
Complaints.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
right.
was out at the
Tracy
same
by the
time as
Complaints.
Sugar. So funny.
I know, so great. Just one of the
And
greatest studio voices ever.
And he had music on other cartoons too. He was part of the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan. um, he did an album of Spider-Man. It was a comic book, but it was music as well. They called it the Rock Comic. And I didn't know. I had it as a kid. I didn't know until years later that was him singing on it, because he had a way of having his voice recorded and produced that you were like, that's him. You really didn't know until you gave it a good listen.
Unbelievable.
But another one of my favorites from back then was the Banana
Of
Split.
course. Now I interviewed Terence
Yes.
Winkler, the one that
Yes.
played Bingo. That was huge. Do you agree?
How cool. That's great. That was great.
I played him my song, Hey Bananas, We Think You're Groovy. He'd never heard of it. He loved it. He said I nailed 1968. He did.
Now,
He said that, and I was rapt.
the funny thing of the Banana Splits, now look at the costumes and think of the Beatles on Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah.
Where they, like John was the walrus and so forth.
Exactly. Exactly.
But being that this was a kids show and they did a lot of slapstick, they sort of remind me of the Monkees and doing the music stuff. So it was like take the Beatles in Magical Mystery Tour, add the Monkees to it, and you got the Banana Splits.
Well, he said it was loosely based on the Monkees, loosely.
Oh, he did. Okay.
And the thing is,
they had all different riders.
Of course, he said the suits fell apart all the time, which I believe him. They're falling out of beach buggies. They're flying down poles. Of course, the suits are falling apart all the time.
But even Barry White wrote for them back then.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. You know your stuff, Bob.
So do you. You're coming up with stuff. Let's see. We kept talking about the Beatles, so let's see some odd Beatles stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's go for it.
of course, their first label was VJ Records, right?
Exactly.
In America, anyway.
That's
So
right.
in a, VJ kept plugging the same music. They only had the rights at the time to so many songs, basically the Please Please Me album,
And
and
different
they
covers.
just kept reissuing it and reissuing it in different ways. Yeah, this cover was kind of cute. It even has, well, on the back it shows that girls should put pictures of themselves underneath the Beatles in hearts as to which one goes with which. So it was a novelty of the time.
It's a good idea at the time. Yep. Is the
So was
Beatles
this.
versus the Four Seasons.
Yeah, well, VJ also was putting out Four Seasons Greatest Hits. So all they did here was take the same record of the Beatles and the Four Seasons Greatest Hits that they had out, and they stuck them in this cover. and
It's a
and then
great idea.
on the back you had to write down. I'm glad nobody wrote on this copy, but you had to write down which song you liked better, with a Beatles song or the Four Seasons.
Unbelievable marketing.
Yes, yes. And they just kept going. One of their last things was this called Jolly Watt, the Beatles and Frank Ifield. But then it says on stage. So you get the impression that they were playing live. No, no, it's not live. There's only there's only a couple of songs on here that are the Beatles, and the rest is Frank Ifield, which they had nothing to do with each other, but there they are on this record. They just tried to get the material out there whichever way possible.
You know
And
the
and
big
these
song
things,
for Frank Ifield? I believe in you. What is it? I remember
I,
you. That's it.
I
I remember you.
remember you.
That's it.
That's it with the
Problem
yodel.
is, problem is, I don't remember him.
No, time didn't keep it going with him. No, no. Another American thing, and I'm showing you all this American stuff because I
That's
figured,
what we
maybe
need.
you'd like
We
to
need
see
that.
it.
We need it.
Record clubs. There used to be all these record clubs that you could
Of
join, and
course.
they would send you records and tapes and things that you would choose. Well, the Beatles, for a while, Capitol had their albums on these record clubs, but they made special editions of the albums. So
Yep.
here's Yesterday and Today, but this is the record club edition. Now you're going to say it looks the same as any other, but the key is if you find a copy at the top that has these lines, that means it's a record club edition.
Is that
And
printed lines or is that texter lines?
no, it's just lines. See, there's some on the back cover too.
So what? That printed though, or is with a texter those lines?
Those are printed.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and the record, especially on this one, people found collectible because the songs were in true stereo, whereas the initial regular release was not. So
I've never seen that before. That's great.
yeah, this is a Revolver that's a record club edition,
Fair
and that
income. I've
has,
never even known about the record club editions. I've
yeah,
never known that.
there's the lines on the top.
First time I heard of that in my life. Show me the cover front and back.
There's the lines again on the top.
Okay, but doesn't say anything about a club anywhere, does it?
No, but the interesting thing, let me see, I'm going to take out the record. And this one happens to have a newer label to it.
Got it.
It says something about being pressed by Longines. So it's pressed by a different company than Capitol. So it's so unusual that way because the record has nothing to do with the actual company. It was like it was leased out and somebody else pressed it.
You know, I've never seen those, never, or heard about them.
The things that you find, right?
Yeah, but the things that you know.
Well, one of my unusual things is, and I have to see if this is easy to show. This is
please.
an original British copy of Sergeant Pepper.
Yep, I see it.
The record is the usual copy, and the cover looks like the usual copy, except
Can I ask you something?
sure.
When you pull out the records, they're in a white and red sleeve, aren't they? With lines.
The initial one, yeah. This
Yeah.
one is missing that for some reason.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. But what's unusual with this one is, let me see if I see it. Is it up there? Yes, this is the original pressing. But what's so odd is up here in this little corner. Can you read that? It
Yeah,
says
what's it
fourth.
say?
It says fourth proof,
Okay. That's great. That means that must have been a promo.
which is so bizarre. How did
I've
that
never
come
seen it.
out? How did a proof copy come out and get issued? I mean, I'm assuming this was in a store. Oh, that's the sleeve you were talking about.
Yeah, that's the one, exactly. You know how rare it is to get that? That shows it's the original.
Right? It was a full thing that way.
I've never seen that writing at the bottom of the album.
No, not like that, right?
That's come out of the factory and they didn't know. That's what I think.
And I showed you yesterday and today before. You know this album? You've seen this album otherwise, right?
I know the one. That's the one that's supposed to peel off and you got the butcher cover underneath.
There's the butcher.
Now, can I tell you, how did you buy that or find that? Was it in that state?
No, this was from a collector. I bought this with the other cover still on it. In fact, it was peeled. Here's the peeled cover that was over the original.
How do you take it off without wrecking the cover?
I sent it out to get it professionally peeled. Believe me, it was hard to do because I was so worried it would never come back. But thankfully, it did. And
So what is that? Is that a first state cover, second state cover? I don't know. They got different versions.
I know.
That?
I guess it's considered a second state since it already had the other cover over it.
I reckon that's fantastic. What did you pay for it, Bob? Tell us. And what year was it?
This was around 22 something years ago. I bought it. I think it was around 200.
That was a bargain.
You hear so many people like they were finding these in the 70s and got them for nearly nothing, but it's such an unusual cover. You just had to see it. You could see why nobody really cared for it.
No, but I've never seen it up close, a real one. It's great.
Pieces of meat and there's a doll's head on Paul's lap. It's just very unusual.
Yeah, but you know what that's all about?
It's the same
you know what
record,
that's all about? Do you know what that's about? Why they did that? Because they got sick of the record companies butchering their songs and putting them the way they wanted.
Right. Well, that's one suggestion. The other is that the photographer just was into doing odd mod art at the time and decided on putting them together with this. They sure didn't think that this was going to be, become an album cover. And, they went ahead and here it is. That's what they did.
And also when it came out for sale, all the record stores were ringing up Capitol and saying, get rid of this. It's turning people off. They don't like it. And Capitol recalled the whole lot.
Right. And then to save money, rather than destroy what they brought back, they just pasted the other cover over it. But what's so funny is you can see the cover underneath the new one so easily that, people were just peeling it and getting the cover anyway. But a lot of times you can damage it. So that's why you need somebody who knows how to do it to actually, peel it. But, Beatle albums just sold so much. This was the American Meet the Beatles, but this was the first pressing because they put this out in a rush before BMI and ASCAP could get listed. Now, I don't think you can see that on here.
I
I'm
say
trying to
there's
see.
nothing there, like ASCAP and whatever. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I still say this is one of the biggest selling albums ever. I don't think Capitol has all the correct uh, sales on this.
Yeah.
They went to local mom and pop record pressing plants and had them quickly stir up some copies and get them out there to the different stores, Woolworths and whatever, anything just to get them out. And I don't think they kept a tally back then of everything. They didn't have like what they do now, where the scanner and figure out the tally. So when you hear something like the Eagles or Kiss or something sold more than this, I don't think so. But a band that's decidedly American that you just interviewed Fang the other day is Paul Revere and the Raiders, right?
Yeah, show me. I'm a big fan.
I have so many odd records of theirs too. This was an import cover of the Raiders' best hits.
That's great. I've never seen it. What year did that come out?
I think this was 1967.
Great. Can I have a look at the back as well?
Let me take the record out of there.
It's great that you got all this stuff. I've got to have a look at your Paul Revere.
The back looks like the Spirit of '67 album, even though it's a hits collection.
Yeah, got it. Show me whatever you got, Paul Revere and the Raiders. I've got a few people who are really crazy fans.
But there's Phil at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have here's an odd one from another country. As you can see, I guess that's from Spain.
Where's that from? Mexico or Spain?
I think Spain.
Okay, it's fine. That's great.
And
what is it? El Espirito del 67?
Yeah, for Spirit of '67, and of course, the four of the Raiders had gotten together a number of years ago, and this is a signed picture of all of them. Of course, let's see, Smitty on the end here has passed, sadly, but there's Fang, there's Mark Lindsay, who's still touring, and Drake Levin, who has also passed away since then. So it's really great to have different things signed. There's a little display card of Paul Revere and the Raiders, and Mark Lindsay had signed that.
That's great. You got some great stuff. You got to frame it and put it on the wall.
and people think, the Raiders came out and they were trying to take over the British bands that were coming out to beat the British. Well, they were actually around before the Beatles or anybody came out.
Exactly, and you already.
This is the first Paul Revere and the Raiders album from 1961.
Never seen that.
Yeah, there's nothing on here you would know except maybe Like Long Hair. Revere would still play that. It's mostly all instrumentals.
Seriously, 1961. Does it say the members? They're all the original members?
Here.
Never seen
the only members at the time you would know is Mark and Paul. But on the back cover, the only one shown is Paul.
Seriously, is that 1961?
Yeah.
Gee, that shows how far back they go.
Yeah, the song was a semi-hit too, Like Long Hair.
Yeah, but you know what? That puts them back in the early Beatles phase.
Right.
I never knew that.
But then they played more boogie woogie R&B. They sure didn't sound like Kicks or Stepping Out or anything. That was, they kept changing their sound.
They did the greatest version of Louie Louie.
Right. Well, Louie Louie was the first single from Columbia when they were signed to Columbia. But they kept changing their sound all the time. They changed the band members and they changed the sound. But they were sort of like, to me anyway, they were sort of like the American Rolling Stones meets the Beach Boys.
And you know the other great thing, their claim to fame? the only rock group to play on the Batman 1966 TV show.
That's right.
That is huge. That alone is huge.
They were on TV so much back in the day. They had Where the Action Is, and they had a
Yep.
show Happening, 68, and
Yep.
It's Happening. That and with the colonial suits and stuff, the Museum of Rock and Roll won't induct them because they think of them as being just a silly old band. As they're not inducting the Monkees either. But
yeah, I'm not commenting about them.
Oh, we don't care. We don't need that place.
I got no comment about them. We know who's great and not. I don't need someone to tell me who's great. The Monkees are the greatest. Paul Revere and the Raiders are the greatest. Their music lives forever. And as I said, everything they've done on video, on TV, lives forever. What people want to think, that's up to them. But the first generation fans know the greatest bands.
Yes. And we could talk forever about all these different bands. I could have brought out half my collection and spoken on different things. But interestingly enough, all this inspiration of playing and being into music, I liked modern stuff too. I didn't like just the 60s music. I wrote for a local newspaper. I did music reviews, and I got to meet the Ramones. The Ramones. I was friendly with Johnny for a while, Johnny Ramone, and a friend of mine was always good friends with them, and we got to meet and hang out with them a lot. And of course, they loved.
If I can. There's a band called the New Piccadillys. They're in Scotland. I want you to look up their version of Judy is a Punk.
Wow.
And the guy, Kaiser George, he makes marionettes. I did the interview, and he does a song also. I think it's called Complete Control. He's made 3 years it took him to make the puppets or the marionettes for the film clip, and he does the whole recording studio. 3 years it took him. And you've got to look that song up. Look up the New Piccadillys. Everybody in America, the New Piccadillys. Put it this way. If I was Brian Epstein and these guys were going in 1963, I would be their manager. That's a great. They got the early Beatles sound. I'm not joking. Have a listen. It's the most unbelievable music you will hear in your life. I'll say it one more time. The New Piccadilly. Go on YouTube, the New Piccadillys. Look up Judy is a Punk and look up.
Wow.
I think it's called Complete Control. Watch that video on YouTube. 3 years to make one video clip and hand make everything in that studio by hand.
Nice.
Unbelievable. Anyway, Bob, I want to talk now about the Keys. You're a member of the Keys. Let's talk about the
Keys. Yes. Well, as you have heard, I mean, now we're telling the people that I got so inspired by listening to everybody else's music that I had to go and make my own music, right?
That's normal.
And yes, one of the most recent things I had come out is this CD. It's actually released in Australia. It's from 0 Hour Records, and it's the Keys grand reopening. And if you notice, that looks a little familiar, huh? A guitar on the top with the band's name on it.
That's Monkees inspired. You got to tell me about that.
I'll tell you the truth. When I was making up the idea of the name The Keys, it also dealt with a song I had written called Open Your Door. And I was like, oh, well, who would put out Open Your Door but the Keys? But I spelled it Kees. So it looked like, a shortened version of the Monkees. And I was like, you know what? That's not going to work. So the Keys we became. And you open it up. There's the band members. This picture's from like around 1990. There's me at the end. Well, that's me. This is Ken Schaefer, the drummer. This is Bob Hardy, the lead guitarist, and this is John LaPiccolo, the bass player. And this band was together. We were around from 1988 to 1994, about. But we acquired enough recordings that we put out this CD through 0 Hour Records. There's some covers on there too. We do Baby Blue by Badfinger. You would know that. Couldn't I
Yes,
Just
right.
Tell You by Todd Rundgren? We even
Yep.
do Elevator by the Rollers, which was the Bay City Rollers. And the front cover was an adaptation of this original album that came out in 1988, which was Grand Opening. Yeah,
That's great.
I still have sealed copies. Well, then it was only me and Ken Schaefer. The other two guys came a little later. And in 1988, we appeared on Dance Party USA. It was a national show on the USA Network. It was sort of like American Bandstand. It was really funny because they had us set up on stage. We performed my original called Deanna. And the funny thing was they had us set up on a stage and there was a dancing audience in front of us. And they're like, "You're on," because we were lip syncing to the record. And I couldn't hear the record. It was like playing from a little boombox in a distance. So imagine you got a screaming crowd in the front and you're trying to listen to the record. So my lip sync wasn't too good on that, unfortunately. But that was national, and that helped get us our start.
That's great. Where's
So
the links? You got to tell everybody
had-
on YouTube the links where they find all the key stuff.
Oh, sure. Well, even our videos and everything. We don't have a major website right now, though. My friend Wayne Adderley made up a Wix website. If you could always look it up using my name, and that would pop up. But we have a Keys page of the Keys on Facebook that has our videos and different things and how to order and music reviews on there. So even though the band technically doesn't exist, it still exists in Facebook land.
Of course it does.
I have
Like
my
the
own site
recordings
too
they do.
called Bob Koenig Music. That's on Facebook as well. But we're still talking about the Keys. Here was even a fanzine on the Keys,
Great.
and it has the picture that was used later on the back of the CD. But the interesting thing with us, besides appearing on national TV, we also got to be in a comic book. We were in this comic book from AC Comics called FemForce. This was a promo ad for FemForce. It says FemForce goes rock and roll, and here you see the superheroine girls, and they're listening to our record. They're holding it in their hands and everything. So it's got little blurb about the Keys and that we wrote a theme song for this comic book. So in 1991. This comic book came out of FemForce number 50, and it says extra FemForce theme on flexi disc. You ever see in special magazines, be it like National Geographic or
I've seen them, the little plastic records like a
Ad
sheet.
Magazine used to do that. They would have these little records inserted.
Yep.
So open up the middle, and there's our record.
That's great.
So we had this flexi disc record in the comic book, and we also got pictured, and there's a nice review about us. AC Comics is still going on. You know, Mark Heike and Bill Black, they still have AC Comics going. It's out of Florida, and you can look them up too. They have their own website, and they're on Facebook. But I didn't just get in a comic book with the record. No, the Keys got into FemForce Up Close, issue number 1, and we are in this book. Here's the Keys in the comic book.
That's fantastic. Can't ask for better than that.
How about that for a nice little promotion, huh?
And being number one comic, that's great. That must be worth $1. That must be worth some money.
And there's a close up of the band.
Which one are you? The one at the front there with the
The one
blonde, the
with the
blonde with the
sunglasses. Yeah,
sunglasses.
I'll show you a picture that they used to make that, because this was our that they took that from an idea of our promo picture, uh, which
It's
was
great stuff.
this one here. So
I
you
see it.
see me with the sunglasses. That's where they got the idea with the artwork.
Looks
But
like you can go straight into Blondie.
that's me, Ken, Bob, and John from Keyhole Records. Uh,
That's great.
that was the name of the record company that we had.
What you've shown us today has been fantastic, Bob. All the collectibles, and also what you've just shown us now about the keys. And
Oh
all I
yeah,
want to say is,
I'm still
you're still going.
still doing music. I'm also presently I'm still with Chrome Orange Music.
That's great.
Chrome Orange Music has a site where they keep a backlog of songs. Like they have a library available of songs for leasing or using for films and commercials and things. So they have a lot of my stuff there. So if you look up chromeorangemusic.com, Mark and Sue Gady are involved with that, and you'll see my music there. Um, but after the Keys had split up in '94, no, I kept going with things. I had a solo CD called Pros and Icons. I
That's
tried to
great.
look kind of tiki there with the tiki in the back and the Aku Aku book. And on the back is a goofy picture of me also with the tiki. This was on Cat's Paw Records, and
That's great.
I think they still have copies available. But then I got involved more into folk music as well. So right now, I presently I live in Levittown, Long Island, and they had their 60th anniversary, and I had a CD called Abbey Lane. Here, doesn't that
That's
look
good.
like the Beatles cover, right?
That's great. That's a great idea.
And I have all songs on there. Some of my older materials on here too, but it's also songs about the Levittown. I was in the a special section of the New York Times. Uh, there's a whole article about me, and there's me playing a banjo.
That's fantastic.
Look like Peter, right, playing the banjo.
Exactly. That's great. I love it.
And are you into comic books too? Because now here we showed the comic books. You see, I got a comic book character on my shirt.
That's good. We're all into cartoons. I've got like a reprint of the Kiss comic book where they put their blood in the vat.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They had that thing. They put the blood in the vat of the ink. So you pick up the book and you're like, ew, is that really their blood in there?
I got a reprint of that.
Oh, they reprinted that one.
I think so. I think mine's a reprint.
But I had other stuff. My original hometown Mineola. I had two CDs and I reissued it as 11501, which is the zip code of Mineola. I did songs locally that way.
That's
I
great.
also had a country band through Chrome Orange Music called Koenig's Road, and that was a promo CD of a song of mine called Love Supermarket.
That's great.
So
You got a lot of
things
product.
there's always different things to find out, and you never know where things are going to pick up. Like on the one I showed you of Abbey Lane, I did a cover of a song called Little Boxes. It's an old folk tune, and I had help on that track with an outsider artist named Peter Grudzian. And was it last year or 2 years ago? A movie came out about his life called The Unicorn, and this is about Peter Grudzian. And wouldn't you know it, this song is on the soundtrack to this movie.
That's great. You're all over the world, which is great.
I'm all over the place. I run 5Ks sometimes, and my friend Richard Brodsky, he has a foundation. You can always look up Richard Brodsky Foundation. He does this AIDS and Cancer Run walk. On the back of his shirt, as a promo, and I don't know if you can
we
see
can
it
see
too
it.
clearly. Where
Yeah.
where is it? Right, right there is right in there is the Keys logo,
Got you. Yep.
and at
I see
his
it.
at his races, I sing the American national anthem before the race.
That's great.
So the music continues to go on. You never know what I'll be doing next, but
That's
you
it.
know, I've had all these things out, and it's been fun to do. I've had recent recent reviews. You should look up. These people might be good to interview too. If you ever heard Nadia D, she has a website, Hop on Power Pop. She's great to talk to about power pop music. Um, David Bash or Alan Haber. Bill Kopp is a great reviewer. Stephen Schnee even showed my comic books because he also collects comics as well as records. So all these people were helping keep the Keys name around. And
You can't ask for
I
more.
mentioned before that I write stuff. I was a writer for a while for this magazine, Cool and Strange Music.
Great.
My friend Dana Countryman had produced this for many years, and I had a full article in here. Where is it? I'm losing where it is. It's it was a full article on bootleg albums. So you never know
Unbelievable.
where you find me. I have a degree. I have a bachelor's degree in American Studies and Popular Culture. So different things like that. Anything goes with me, you know. And I know something else that you like. I had to show you as a last thing is a Batman wrist
Oh,
radio set.
now that you've got to show me, open it up and take it out and show me the box. That I've never seen in my life.
Let's see.
Show everybody so we can show them out there in the Batman collectibles. That's 1966.
I think
It'd have to
so.
be. Yeah.
I don't know if it. I don't know
I'd
if
say
it
that's
says.
66 because of the artwork.
Yeah, I think so. And it has the walkie-talkies inside.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So you never know what you'll
You can
find with
find.
different things.
Did you
There
have
was
that as a child? Did you have that box as a child and you kept it? Was that yours when you were younger, or did you buy it?
so somebody I know gave it to me to put in my own little museum of sorts.
That's fantastic. That's rare. That's a very rare piece there, Bob. Now, Bob,
Right.
I've got to wrap it up.
Okay.
And what we'll do is, don't worry, just stay there. And I want to say, from Plastic EP, it's been such a fantastic interview. We've gone over 53 minutes, so that's pretty good, Bob.
Oh,
I want you to
wonderful.
say goodbye to everyone out there, and we'll be back again, you and I, for sure. We'll be doing another interview.
Wonderful. And say hi and when you're on Facebook to me.
Everyone go and say hello to Bob. Fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it, Bob. And so did everyone else. So from Plastic EP,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bob Koenig, check him out because the guy's fantastic. And check out the Keys.
The Keys
I've checked
too.
him
Yeah.
out. Some great songs in there. See ya.
Thank you.